Hi, my name's Julia, and I am working on a book called The Amazing True Imaginary Autobiography of Dick and Jani, which is about my grandmothers who were both born in 1916. What I'm about to show you is a slideshow of their lives, a brief history through photos to give you a taste of the amount of research and work that's gone into this project already, and that I'm trying to complete with your help, because I think it shows the history of the 20th century in a very unique and interesting way. My grandmother Dick died in 1992, just a few months after my grandfather. This is the last picture I have of her and one of the last of them at their wedding anniversary, their 50th in Florida. I think of the 70s as Jani's decade, even though she died in 1980. And this is the last summer of her life in 1979. She really came into her own that decade. That's the two of us over Christmas. This is her with one of her many articles that she wrote about teaching. And this is her on strike and at the National Organization for Women conference. She was extremely active in that decade. This is her with my cousin Darcy and Jonathan. And this is me with Dick and George in the 70s when they were taking care of me. In the 1960s, Jani was struggling to get out of her third marriage, and the way she did it was by getting her teacher's degree. Meanwhile, Dick was taking care of me in the mid-60s after my mother and father had split up. This is Jani visiting her family in Milwaukee, and my mother and father with Dick and George soon after my mother discovered she was pregnant with me. The early 1950s were an exciting time for Jani. She was living with my grandfather, Bob, in post-war Vienna. He was working for the Stars and Stripes campaign, and she was working at the Foreign Service at the Allied Commission for Austria, which was quite amazing, and going to balls and such. And meanwhile, Dick was living a far more conventional life in Connecticut in the 50s. Here she is bowling. In the 1940s, Dick lost her beloved younger brother, George, at the end of World War II. He was killed by a kamikaze pilot. These are her war ration coupons. Jani gave birth to my mother in the middle of deployments of her second husband and divorced her first. This is Dick and George and my father at West Point right before the war began and before they had changed their names from Bukowski to Barclay. In the 30s, Jani had her first two children, Ted and Barbara, with her first husband, Russell. And Dick had her only child, Jim, with her husband, George. This is one of my favorite pictures of her when she was courting with my grandfather. I think she looks gorgeous. I think of this decade as her decade. You can see her with her friends and my grandfather. She looks incredibly happy. And I think she was enjoying herself, which was something I had never seen before. On the right, that's her with a dress she designed of her own. And on the left is Jani posing with a dress I believe her mother made her. That's Jani with her grandmother and sister. And on the right is Dick with her dad and sister. In the 1920s, they were both girls. This is Jani looking very precocious like usual, and Dick on the right with her friend Helen, who she clearly liked a lot. 1916 is the year that they were born. Jani is on the left with her mother Ida, and on the right is Dick in a posed photo. Hi, I think seeing that taste of their two lives gives you a sense of the contrast between them. A contrast I see is between the soul-crushing cost of conformity in terms of Dick's life and the price of a kind of flamboyant rebellion in Jani's. And I like to think that by showing their point of view through their lives, it gives us another lens in which to see the 20th century. Thank you.